What is going on, superheroes? Yo. It is your group leader, Allison, popping into the group live with Coffee Talk, where I come in every single week talking about topics that are going to help you turn your blog into a profitable business. Profitable. Rolling your tongue is fun. Let's do it together. Profitable business. Anyway, I'm super excited because today we're going to be talking about how to get more traffic to your site. It's one of those things that we all need. I mean, you need people to actually see your content, right? But it's something that causes people a lot of frustration. Like, how do I get more traffic? No one's looking at my site and blah. So we're going to be talking about that today. And a lot of the things that I'm going to be mentioning kind of are what I also talked about last week. So for me, building my email list and getting traffic kind of go hand in hand. So be sure to check out last week's video if you missed it. We talked about email list building. And you can view all of the videos in Coffee Talk by just going to that search bar at the top, that little search bar box at the top of the group, and entering in hashtag Coffee Talk, and you can see all the old episodes. This is my cat, Mr. Purry. He's being annoying. I love you. Okay, so be sure to check that out. What's up? And yay, you made it. That's so awesome. So yeah, so last week I went over several things that I do to grow my email list, which also affects my traffic, so check it out. Okay, and as always, this is Coffee Talk, so I don't want this to just be totally one-sided. Please feel free to ask questions. I want to hear your comments. I want to know what works for you as far as getting traffic. So share your 2 cents, share what's working, share what isn't working, interact with each other. I want us all to kind of just come together and help each other out. So I'm, your cat is the same way. Yes. So I want us all to work together and boost our traffic. So I'm going to be sharing what works for me as far as getting traffic goes. But if you have something that you want to add, please do. I always love hearing about what works for other people. Stephanie, you just poured a fresh cup. Yay. Hey, Jamie. I know. I always have my coffee and then I forget to drink it during Coffee Talk, which is ironic. Okay, so I'm just going to dive right in. Feel free to insert your 2 cents, ask any questions that you have. But I want to start off by saying, and some of you might have heard me say this before, because every time I talk about traffic, it's something that I feel like I just have to insert. And that is, don't obsess over your page views. So if you are one of those people, I know I was for a really long time, where you're like checking your page views daily, you are only going to drive yourself to insanity. Page views fluctuate, and page views ultimately are not what matters. I always like to give the example of, okay, let's say today you check your page views and you have 5,000 page views today, and you're like, oh my gosh, I got 5,000 page views today. That's awesome. But then let's say out of those 5,000 page views, only 5 people actually really interacted with your content. Only 5 people signed up for your email list. Wah, wah. Now let's say you get 500 page views. So that is way less than 5,000. You get 500 page views today, but out of those 500 page views, 100 people interact with your content and sign up for your email list. So which one do you think is better? Do you want people engaging with your content, getting excited about it, signing up for your email list, or you just want people giving you page views, but they are not really interacting with you, they're just leaving? Okay, so I like to throw that example out, that page views are not everything, you guys, so don't obsess over them. I haven't checked my page views in months, literally. That is how little I give a shit. I don't care about them. Yerba mate. Oh, that sounds really good, Tatiana. That sounds super delicious. Okay, yeah, so, Anne, I hear you. Let's talk about traffic. And by the way, I think it's kind of like, I've heard this from other people as well. January is a slow month for traffic. For whatever reason. I don't know why. But I'm not even joking when I literally haven't checked my page views in months. I get subscribers on a daily basis. I get people, so I know that I'm getting traffic, but I don't actually care about the traffic. So I haven't actually looked at mine. Hey, Jamie. Okay, so you guys, again, share what is working for you with your traffic. Share what's not working for you. Share any frustrations you have. I want to talk about this together. Okay. So diving right in, my biggest source of traffic, and a lot of you might know this already, this might be true for some of you guys as well, my biggest source of traffic comes from Pinterest, and I do not do promoted pins. I've actually tried those before, and I noticed that it did diddly squat. So I tried it at the beginning of this year. I was like, I'm going to promote a pin, get tons of traffic, and it literally really didn't do anything. So I have not had success with that. I just use the free version of Pinterest. Do any of you guys use Pinterest, by the way? Let me know. Is it working for you? Is it not working for you? Are you frustrated with it? Let me know. But Pinterest really, really, really works well if you use it strategically. So last year is when I started. I've been on Pinterest for forever. I was actually one of the first people to get Pinterest. I remember when it first came out, the founder who started Pinterest sent me an email with an invite. Really weird. I don't even know how that happened. But I didn't start using it for business until last year, and that's when I started getting strategic about it. So around this time last year, I had maybe around 1,200 followers on Pinterest, I think. But when I started being strategic about it, it started growing a ton, which affected my traffic. Now I have about 34,000 followers, which means that more people are seeing my pins, and that is getting me more traffic. In January, we should post about budgeting. Oh, yes, I totally agree with that. Okay, your Pinterest is a hot mess, Stephanie. Okay, so you guys, Pinterest can be really powerful, and it's literally 90% of my traffic probably comes from there, and I'm not paying for promoted pins, but you have to use it wisely. So for starters, you need to treat it like a search engine, because that's what it is ultimately. I don't know why it gets lumped into the social media category. Like, who goes onto Pinterest to like chat and send messages? Nobody. So Pinterest is a search engine. You need to treat it that way. So what that means is you need to be using keywords in your Pinterest profile name. So like mine is Allison, and then I have it say entrepreneur/blogger, I think. You need to use keywords in your description. You need to use keywords in your board titles. So don't try and get all creative with your board titles. I used to do that, and it sounds like it would be really cool. But ultimately, people are not going to be able to find your boards. So like, my board about blogging stuff is simply called blogging tips. So, and then keywords in your board descriptions. So if you click on one of my Pinterest boards, it is nothing but keywords. It's not even a description. I literally just list a bunch of keywords. Yay, thank you, Jamie. So that's one thing you need to make sure you're doing. Also, using descriptions in your pins with keywords. So again, treat it like a search engine. So what phrases would people search for on Pinterest to find your pin? So think about that when writing your description. Include those keywords. Don't use hashtags. Hashtags can actually hurt your pins in the smart feed, so that is not Pinterest friendly. Don't use hashtags. So that would be my first thing I would say to you, is treating it like a search engine. Also making sure, of course, you want to have a professional photo on your Pinterest, one that is well branded. You want to have your boards organized in a way that showcases all of your most important relevant stuff first. So you don't want to have a million personal boards that have nothing to do with your business first. You want the boards that you want the attention on first. And that brings me to, you don't want to have a million personal boards. If you have a million of those, then make them private. There are private boards for a reason. So I have a few personal boards because I think it kind of enforces, like, shows my personality, personalizes my brand. But if you have like 20 of them, make some of them private. I am like in a weird sun here, sorry. You've been having a lot of invitations from Goot boards. Okay, yes, that's a good question, Kara, sorry. Yeah, so let me get into that in a second, group boards. But yeah, rearrange your boards. That's really important. Don't have a million personal boards. Have a few to personalize your brand. But then if you have a million, make them private. And then as far as group boards, you know what? Group boards worked really well last year. They kind of were like a huge thing. I feel like they don't work quite as well anymore because I feel like Pinterest kind of caught on and almost flags them as spammy a little bit. So I think having a few group boards are okay. You don't want to join a million of them. But if you join a group board, you want to make sure that it has like a good repin rate. So before you join a group board, make sure it's obviously in line with your business and your brand, and kind of scroll down to look at the quality of the pins. Do they look high quality? Are they getting a lot of repins? If they are, then that's a good board to join. If it's just a bunch of crap and or things really aren't getting pinned at all, then that would not be worth your time. Does it make Yes. Oh, so Stephanie, yes. So definitely have a board for each of the topics that you cover in your industry, whatever your industry is. So you guys know my industry is blogging and business. So I have a blogging tips board. I have an entrepreneur tips board. I have an email marketing board, branding board, design board, a bunch of other things that I can't think of right now. So definitely organize your boards in forms of categories that are relevant to your industry, using those keywords in the title, using those keywords in the descriptions, using those bloody keywords everywhere. Another thing that is going to help with Pinterest that really helped me is pinning quality content. So again, this goes back. So if you want to use Pinterest for business, you need to be pinning things for your ideal client and not yourself for the most part. So again, you want to be pinning things that your ideal client would like, not just a bunch of like, oh, recipes for myself. So it's okay to do a little bit of that, but again, make those boards private. It's going to help you a lot more and help people to find you that you want to find you if you are pinning with your ideal client in mind. Quality stuff. Another thing that I did that really helped is going through periodically and deleting pins that have really low repins. So I'm trying to get out of this sun because it's just like, okay, it's a little better. Real problems. Okay, so deleting pins that don't get a lot of repins. So I periodically will go through my boards and look at what has really low repins, and I will delete those. The smart feed is kind of annoying in that it doesn't display it by what is most recently pinned. It displays it by popular and quality and stuff. So it will show in the smart feed the stuff that it deems to be quality. So if you're having a lot of really low pinned stuff on your boards, they're going to rank lower. So periodically go through and clean up your boards, clean up the stuff that have really low pins. Zoe, okay, yes, cool. Okay, so do you want to pin your own content and or other people's? You definitely want to pin other people's content because if you're just pinning your own content, it looks spammy. So if like you went to my profile and all you saw was my stuff, it just looks a little spammy. So even on my business boards, like my blogging tips, I would say at least 50% of those pins are other people's pins. So definitely, I mean, I've heard people say different things. I would say at least 50% other people's stuff and 50% your stuff. So, and again, pinning high quality stuff that is what your ideal reader would want. Something I've experienced with is pinning pins that have a large repin rate. Yes, yes, Anne. So Anne has been pinning stuff that has a really large repin rate. So that's good. So periodically going onto Pinterest and pinning the stuff that is getting a lot of repins. That's going to help add quality pins to your boards and help your boards to rank higher. Yes, that's good. Yes, that is something that I do as well. Another thing that has grown my Pinterest like crazy. So again, as I said, this time last year I had couple thousand followers. Now I have 34,000 followers. Is pinning consistently, you guys. I'm still running away from this. Hold on, let me just move. Ugh. Okay, pinning consistently is going to grow. Sorry, I'm like trying to be outside because it's nice, but the sun is annoying. Pinning consistently. So you want to pin every single day. At first, when I was trying to be consistent with my pinning, I was pinning about 15 to 20 pins a day every morning, and that started growing my account a lot. but it was very annoying because I would be wasting like 30 minutes every single morning because it would take me a while to find quality pins, and it was bleh. So that worked, but it was very time consuming. So for those of you who have not used Board Booster, it's a lifesaver. I know some people use Tailwind. I don't use it, so I can't speak about that one. That's an automator as well. But Board Booster, you guys, has exploded my Pinterest profile because it pins for me all day long and I don't have to do anything. It saves me a crap ton of time. Once you get it set up, you really don't have to do anything. There are weeks that I just don't even log on to Pinterest at all, but it's pinning on my behalf every single day so that it looks like I'm pinning every single day. And I get like 2,000 to 3,000 followers on Pinterest every single month. Just from that happening. What do you suggest we pin? Okay, so Tatiana, as far as your question goes, whether it's Tailwind or whether it's Boobs Booster, no. Whatever automator you're using or not using, always pin stuff that is in line with your business and is in line with your ideal client. So it just depends on the industry. So for me, I pin blogging tips and business tips and things that are gonna help people run a successful business. My own pins and other people's pins. So whatever your industry you're in, pin with them in mind, things that they would want to read. You just cannot get Board Booster work for me. Oh no, yeah, it can be a little confusing, Anne. Ultimately, I just use the scheduler and the looper on Board Booster, and I have it set to 100 pins a day. So for me, Board Booster is pinning 100 pins a day on my behalf, and I'm not doing anything. Okay, so that's a little about Pinterest. That is my biggest source of traffic, but again, in order to get the traffic that you get from Pinterest to turn into actual subscribers, it's really important to focus on your foundation, which we talked about in last week's video. So be sure to check out last week's video on email listing if you missed it, because you want your traffic to not just be page views, but people who actually love your content. So that's why your foundation is really important. That's what we went over last week. Has to do with your brand and your website and making sure your, purpose is clear and all of that stuff. Teach us how to set up Board Booster. Stephanie, you know what? I actually have a course on that already. I took it down temporarily. But for those of you who missed the announcement earlier this week, I am actually releasing a course on Tuesday, this upcoming Tuesday, called From Blog to Business. I've been working on it for months, and it's all about how to turn your blog into what I like to call a passive income machine. So it focuses on your foundation, which includes your brand. It focuses on traffic, email list building, and funnels. And I do show you how to set up Board Booster in that course, like exactly how I set up my Board Booster. Yeah, but as I said, ultimately and by the way, you guys, so that comes out on Tuesday. I am releasing it on Monday to a select few at the lowest price I can possibly make it. So if you want to have the opportunity to check it out on Monday at the absolute lowest price, you need to get on my VIP list. I'm going to send out an email on Monday for anyone who wants to check it out at the cheapest price. And I'll post a link above this video at the end. If you want to check it out, you'll need to click on that link. Yay! So very exciting. But yes, Board Booster, Tailwind. Ultimately, I think that consistency is one of the things that has helped me kind of explode my Pinterest account. Yeah, so let me know if you guys have any more Pinterest questions. Let me know if you're struggling with Pinterest. Obviously, we all know you need to use pinnable images, so vertical images with text on them. Focusing on the takeaway. I have found that pins that focus on the takeaway perform better. You need to give people a reason to actually want to click over from your pin. So I find that whether it's the title of your blog post or whatever, your pin needs to give people a reason to click. So focus on that takeaway. Why should they click your pin? What are they going to get out of it? So making sure to use pinnable images in all your blog posts, using your brand colors. Most of you know what that entails. Alicia didn't know much about Pinterest for business. Board Booster is pinning 100-day fair, but it's probably I suppose. Okay, I can't read all of your comment for some reason. Is it Alicia or Alicia? Either way, I apologize in advance for probably butchering your pronunciation. But so what Pinterest, what Board Booster does, the two features I use on it, it schedules pins and it loops pins. So the pin scheduler is essentially something that you set up in advance where you pick out pins, pins that you find on your pins, you pick out other people's pins, you kind of you just sit down for like an hour and you just pin a bunch of content, your content and other people's content. Sorry, I'm outside and it's a little loud. For the scheduler, it will pin new content. So you have picked out all the content and then it just pins them to boards that you specify over a set period of time. So for that, it is pinning new content. The looping feature is what makes it look like you're pinning consistently. So for example, you can set your boards to loop. So let's say my blogging tips board, that is set to loop. So what that means is it is taking my blogging tips board and it is just repinning all the pins on that board all day long so that people are seeing that board all day long. So with the looping feature, it's pinning the same content, but you have it set up so that it's got certain settings so that it won't repin the same pin too close together, if that makes sense. So it pins the same content and new content. I feel like that answer is all over the place, but it does both, and it does it in a way that it's not just repinning the same pin right next to each other. It won't do that because then it just looks bad. So I hope that answered your question. Okay, pins, quality pins, no hashtags. I think I've gone over most of my Pinterest stuff. Yeah, so let me know if you have any more Pinterest questions. Let's move on to other traffic getters. So again, you're welcome. So again, Pinterest is my biggest traffic source. That's why I talked about it just now. And I really suggest it is worth the time to set up, you guys. If you're not using it strategically, take the time. You know, I spent a good week just making sure my Pinterest was in order last year, and it has been 100% worth it because now I don't really have to do much. It's all set up for me. So take the time to optimize your profile. Take the time to, I would really suggest Board Booster. Again, I haven't used Tailwind, but Board Booster is $5 a month, I think is what they have. I pay $30 a month, but you can start off with $5 a month. And for me, it's 100%, it's 100% worth it to pay that much for basically all my site's traffic. Yes, no hashtags, Abigail. Hashtags can actually hurt your pins in the smart feed. No hashtags. Twitter, Instagram, I just started, it's just crickets. Okay. Okay, so for Instagram, I don't use Twitter, honestly. For one, I think it's important to pick social media platforms that you actually love and that you use and that you know you're going to be good at. You don't have to do everything. So I don't actually use Twitter. I have a profile, which I think I'm going to delete maybe this week. I'm just not into it. So if anyone else has Twitter strategies, feel free to share those. I don't use Twitter for my audience. But Instagram, crickets. Think about, I don't know. Okay, I'm trying to think. For one, stories have been really awesome for me. Stories on Instagram. Do you use those yet? They're pretty fun. I like to share behind the scenes stuff. I like to share if I have something coming up. I'll share little snippets of that. I'll link people to my blog posts and be like, hey guys, go check out that. I like to post a variety of stuff on Instagram with engaging comments or captions. So I like to ask questions when I post a photo, like I'm trying to get engagement, so think about questions that you could ask that will help people to get to know you better. What's up, Christine from Hawaii? That's amazing. I'm jealous. I'm super jealous. Yes, but Instagram, for me, stories have been awesome. I try to do it on a daily basis, haven't been so great about it, but posting behind the scenes and like sharing like your latest and greatest thing on your stories has been really cool. And just trying to be engaging, asking people questions, being like, hey guys, this is my blank. What do you think? Like, ask for people to respond. Oh my gosh, Anne, you've got to use Instagram stories. It's awesome. Yes. Okay. And that's another thing I will say. I've had mixed feelings on Instagram feeds being really curated. So I did this for a while, and I do think it's important to kind of have your feed match the feel of your brand. But I no longer feel like it has to be perfect. I did that for a while, and for me, my perfect feed just got really boring. So it's personal preference, I think. I have not noticed a change in interaction on my Instagram. I now don't worry about it looking perfect. I like to share behind the scenes stuff again and personal photos again. So I think you do want to keep it semi-consistent, but I don't think it has to be perfect anymore. I don't know. What are your guys' feelings on that? I haven't noticed any change in mine since I stopped being like curating this perfect feed. It's been going slow. 104. Okay, so Instagram, you guys. Hashtags you do want to use in Instagram, not in Pinterest. Don't use hashtags in Pinterest, but Instagram you for sure want to use hashtags. You want to look up hashtags that other people in your industry are using. So whatever industry you're in, one of the ways I like to look up hashtags is I will find, bigger people in my industry that have the same audience, and I'll see what hashtags they are using. And I like to use them as a comment. So I won't hashtag the hell out of my caption for the photo. I'll write the caption, post it, and then I will leave a comment on my own photo with all of the hashtags so that not everyone has to see all of my hashtags. But you for sure need to be using hashtags on your Instagram photos. That is how people find you. So I like to look at influencers' hashtags to see what they're using. That's one of my favorite ways. Whenever you share personal photos, so again, Anne, I would suggest making sure you're asking questions, like engage with people, keep it conversational. I like to keep my captions conversational. And ultimately, Instagram is a visual platform, so you do want to not just, like for instance, you don't just want to post 20 crappy looking photos of the food you had that day, of your meal. So it is a visual platform. So you do want to try and keep it kind of nice to look at. If people come to your feed and it's pretty, they're going to want to follow you ultimately because it's all pictures. Okay. Anyone else have Instagram things that they like to do? I know you can do sponsored things on there. I actually have not tried that yet. If any of you have, I would love to hear how it's gone. I have not paid for Instagram advertising. All right, let's talk about more trafficy ways. Another way to get traffic to your blog, you guys, or your site, and I talked about this last week with email list building, but JV webinars. They grow your list and they get traffic to your list. And two of the ways that you can get more traffic by doing a JV webinar is one, your JV co-host will promote you to their audience. So they will send out an email inviting them to the webinar, and they will post your website link in that email. So that's the first way you get traffic from JV webinars. And then the other way that I like to do is on the actual day of the webinar on your live page, you should have something that you give to your attendees for free that goes to your website. So think of a cool freebie that you could give your attendees that is related to the topic of your webinar, but post it underneath the video. So you've got your webinar video, and then under the video be like, hey, you can grab your free thing right here if you want it. And that's one way that I like to get people who might not be on my email list to check out my website by giving them something of value, including that link underneath the video. I haven't heard of that one. You said JV, joint venture. So joint venture webinar, that's where you do a webinar with a co-host. So they're promoting you to their audience, and then on the live broadcast, you are giving them something an incentive to check out your site and sign up for your thing. Who sees the stories on your Instagram? Just your followers? I believe so, Abigail. I think it's just your followers. In fact, I know it's just your followers. Yeah. So that'll show up at the top of their feed. Okay. So yeah, JV webinars are great, you guys, for both email list building and getting traffic. I love them, and connecting with your people. I could talk all day about how much I love them. Okay. Another way to get more traffic is doing live videos, you guys. So if you have a Facebook page, if you have a Facebook group, doing live videos, and then again, giving people something to enhance your videos. So if you have, this lighting is just horrible. I'm sorry. But doing live videos on your Facebook page, on your business profile, maybe even your personal profile, but just everywhere. Live video is great. Video is great for connecting with people. It gets a lot of views. And then you can be like, hey guys, I have this really cool thing. If you want it, here's the link. You were all set up to wrap your head around Google Hangouts, and then it did. Okay, so yeah, it did change to YouTube Live. I can post a link to a tutorial. It's actually very similar. You can still use YouTube Live for free. It's very, very similar. I swear it's not hard. I'll post a link to it. So you can still do webinars with YouTube Live for free. It's just a few steps that you have to do first. So you can totally do it. Okay, so live videos, you guys, on Facebook, linking to your freebie. You can even do a live video, pin it to the top of your business page, and where you talk about something and then link to a freebie. That's one of the things that I do. Okay, perfect. I'll send you the link. Another thing, Facebook ads. I actually have never done a Facebook ad for traffic ever. I might try one next month for the, for kicks to see how it works. So if any of you have done a Facebook ad, I would love to hear about it. I know they can be really awesome depending on how well you target people, but it's not something that I have tried yet. But if you haven't tried one and you want to, I would suggest not just going into it blindly, but actually getting help from someone who either knows how to do them or like a little course on it or whatever, because I know they can be really powerful if you use them correctly. More traffic, is literally just, and I think I mentioned this last week, about growing your, I've talked about this at some point during Coffee Talk, but just a little thing that you can do to get little bursts of traffic is simply making it a point to visit other blogs and leave comments. You don't want to leave spammy comments, obviously. You don't want to just be like, hey, nice article with a link to your site, because that just looks bad. So you want to actually visit sites that you like, that are in the same niche that your ideal client would also like, and leave a genuine comment. Don't just comment for the sake of being like, I want traffic. But if you leave genuine comments about that person's blog post, then people are going to see you, because that blog comments are going to be there forever. So just being active in the blogging community in a genuine way. When you leave meaningful comments, people are going to be like, oh, I wonder who that is. I might go check her out. And then they'll go check you out. So that's one reason why you want to be genuine, just because you want to be genuine and then you don't want to look spammy. So, because I get a lot of people from other people's sites. They'll be like, hey, I saw you on so-and-so's blog, and then I thought I would check out yours and I love it. So that's a little cool way to make connections, spread the love, get a little bit of traffic. And what else? You know what? Those are like my main ways. Those are the main things that I do for traffic. Again, some of the things I did not talk about today are in last week's video about email list building, because again, they kind of go hand in hand for me. So a lot of things I do to do that also get me traffic. But the number one thing that gets me my traffic is Pinterest. So if you have not set that up yet, it is totally worth it. And yes, I would highly recommend an automator, because they are sanity savers, time savers, and they will help you because they're going to be pinning for you consistently. And consistency is important on Pinterest. The Pinterest bots want to favor people who are on there like all the time. But who has time to be on there all the time? I don't. All right. Well, that is today's little coffee talk. If you guys have any other questions about anything, let me know. If you have strategies that you love that I have not talked about, feel free to share them. I want us all to be sharing our stuff. Your phone died. No, no. Yes, phone technology, blah. But yeah, do that, you guys. And also, for those of you who missed it, I don't know what time it is because I'm obviously using my phone, but I am doing a webinar at 3 p.m. so Central, so like an hour 20 minutes from now. If you want to come, it's all about course creation. So it's about how to create and launch your own course, online course, in 7 steps in 30 days. For any of you who are interested in courses, it's going to be juicy. And I posted a live video in the group yesterday with the link to sign up. So you can just scroll down the wall and find that video in the link and come if you would like. If you can't make it live, register if you would like the replay. But that one's going to be good. You are very welcome, and yay! Yes, you'll have to catch up, Stephanie. Yay! Awesome, you guys. So the webinar is, it's about courses. I'm doing it with Teachable. I genuinely do love Teachable. I genuinely love them. And I was saying in the video yesterday, I actually attended a similar webinar at this time last year. And so I'm honored to be co-hosting it, which is really cool, because I literally attended a similar webinar that I'm going to be doing today last year, and it just like, my mind was like, oh, I left the webinar so excited, and it kind of started me on my online course journey, which has been really awesome. So for any of you who are curious about online courses, want to check it out, feel free to come. I really loved it when I went last year. So it's going to be good. You are very welcome, Zoe. Yes, see you at the webinar. I might need a third cup of coffee before I go. Love those little hearts. Love it, love it, love it, love it, you guys. Yes, so if you haven't signed up for that, scroll down the wall. You'll see my video. You can sign up for the link. And for those of you who want to check out, for those of you who want to be able to check out my course at the really lowest price on Monday, I will post that link above this video at the end. I'll be sending out an email to just those people on Monday. So not everybody, only the people who want to actually check it out. So, okay, well, feel free to ask any other questions that you have. I will try my best to answer them in the comments. And as always, you guys are lovely. Next week, we're going to be talking about funnels. So if you are feeling clueless about funnels, and no, we're not talking about the tornadoes. That's a tornado tattoo. We won't be talking about tornado funnels. We're talking about sales funnels next week. So if you want to sell things on your blog using funnels in like a passive way, that's what we're going to be talking about next week. It's going to be really good. It's Red Bull time. There you go. You don't have issues. We all have our favorite beverages. All right, you guys, love it all. I'm going to post that link above the video, and watch last week's video if you missed it. It was juicy. Come to the webinar if you want. Have a lovely day. And yeah, that's it. I'll see you in the group. Bye.